Okay, I should be live now too.
Hooray! I'm going to double check.
Okay,
well,
your
not
video.
double check that. Not double check that you're live, but double check that I can now just see what you're doing.
Yay!
Because I should be able to. Because that's what
Yay.
friends do. You're not on live on my end.
It says I'm live on YouTube. Is Twitch not live for some reason?
You're not live on Twitch that I can see. Let me refresh.
Hmm.
Ah, there you are. There you are. Just
Oh, I probably need to change the channel. What do you call it? Category on Twitch.
probably that is something that seems to be a thing. Hello, chatters.
Okay.
Oh crikey, that went off quickly. Emo only doesn't normally go off in the within like 30 seconds of starting. That's good. How are you all doing?
Okay. Let's see. We got YouTube.
How are you all doing? And I've got hi, hey, hi, hello.
Hey, welcome Chloe the
And
Great and Powerful. Welcome Duskadair.
We do appreciate you. We do appreciate you.
Okay, making
Good. There we go. That's our first answer. Thank you. There. When will we see cannonball journaling? When you go back to what?
You know, we still use
1700s?
cannonballs.
I could use cannonballs, but only if I'm going after my chat.
Okay.
I'm doing all right. I am with Joe. Of course, I'm doing all right.
Yay!
That's usually a given. I'm taking a drink and looking at my table. It's so dirty. I haven't cleaned it off in like weeks because I just use it to do this.
Oh, no.
So,
well, and then when you do this, it's underneath that book usually. So yeah, there's also that element.
Well, to be fair, I do have a cutting mat underneath. So, because my table's reflective, and people have told me we can see your face, and I'm like, oh, you can see like the least attractive part of my face, the chin.
Oh.
Like the underside of it, just never a flattering angle. So, you know, it is what it is. That's looking really fun. Thank you. I like the nature theme stuff. Does seem to be what I'm good at. So, yeah. Joe's currently doing space stuff.
Yeah.
And this is for your pinball machine, right?
Yeah, so I announced the theme on stream. It's not been in the episode yet, because the episode... I got the rough cut done yesterday, and I just... sometimes I can tell, like, I just need to come back on this after I've slept. But since I announced it during my birthday stream last week, not the craft one with you, so don't worry, you didn't miss it. But
no.
The one after it that you did miss. The Minecraft one.
I don't know if it was missed or it was just sort of like I wasn't supposed to be there.
No, you weren't invited.
There you go. It's not missing. It's just.
Yeah. So the name of the pinball machine is Deep Field, and the subject matter is space telescope missions.
Oh.
And so today I'm gonna be looking at typography from a whole bunch of different old space-based pinball machines, like Bally's Starship. Let's see if this actually shows up. So you see, like, how did they do? And boy, it really looks like they could not get the license to the Starship Enterprise, but
no, they
decided
really
to use it anyway.
Yeah, that's
or
that's
other
kinda...
things. So I'm just gonna do a basic. I'm just gonna write the name of the pinball machine in a basic block lettering here, and then we'll play with it from there based on all this stuff. Let's see.
So cool.
Big Level Pro says it's a 7.2 magnitude earthquake. Scary. Just asking because it happened today. I don't.
That's a pretty scary one. Yeah.
I think it depends on the context, because if it's like really far from inhabited areas, no. It's not scary.
I mean,
Like there's
it's
earthquakes on like certain like moons of Jupiter all the time, but we tend not to stress them too much. Like just because it happened today doesn't make it scary. It matters how close did it happen to people, and you have not
did it
provided that
hurt anyone?
information.
But
Yeah,
it's a case of if it is in a populated area, then yes, that would be a scary one.
yeah,
We're looking at upheaval in terrain, holes opening in the floor, that sort of level. It's
yeah.
not quite that bad because that's usually level 9, but yeah, it's not great.
Hey,
If it was next door to you, maybe.
yeah, or directly under you. We also got our first tip of the stream, $3 rolling in from Gary Fuller. Thank you, Gary. Gary writes, some Morning Joe to go with my Morning Joe. So just so y'all know, we're doing rotational tips. Whoops, that's rotating the wrong camera. Let me select the right thing. And so that's going to give us 3 degrees of angular rotation here on my webcam. So thank you, Gary Fuller, for that.
I love Space 1999. We're all meant to wear flares and live again on the moon. Yeah. Freudianity resubscribed for 4 months. Hello, everyone. I've just spent the week in a castle. It was fun. Oh,
That does sound fun.
that does sound like fun. It sounds interesting, definitely. Why were you in a castle? Inquiring minds want to know. Wolf Rako resubscribed for 9 months. You got your Twitch baby. Yay! I don't know if that's a yay or not.
Yeah, you
It's
should.
not a yay for everyone.
Some people are like, oh no, my life has gotten away from me. Time keeps marching
Yeah.
on. Okay, I definitely did some of this wrong.
They're in the castle because they were locked in a dungeon. I don't think people can really be locked in castle dungeons anymore.
Cleo, it's not like doors stopped working after 9/11 or something. Like, why would a castle dungeon not be functional?
Because usually there's like tourists and stuff, and being locked in a dungeon would require massive negligence on the part of the owners.
Yeah, but sometimes people like get locked in department stores overnight. Like, you know, if you can accidentally get locked in an IKEA, you can probably accidentally get locked in a castle dungeon.
I have never been locked in an IKEA personally.
Okay,
so
well, you know, Cleo, it sounds like
that
you're
means it
speaking from a
doesn't
place
happen.
of privilege here.
Well, I mean, like, unless you're talking about the SCP IKEA, in which case
I'm not familiar with that.
Oh, it's you know, the SCP project,
Like
like the creative.
it's one of those things people keep
creepypasta.
trying to explain to me, but it doesn't look like anything to me. It just slides.
Oh,
It's like,
well, basically, it's just like there's weird stuff. Here's a list of all the weird stuff that we've made up, kind of thing. Yeah, and like the endless IKEA is basically one of the things. It's sort of like you get lost in a random IKEA, and you have to like forage the meatballs to survive, that sort of thing. So
yeah, I have
it's a
not.
weird one.
I have not had that experience.
No, not yet. Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, if you go to an IKEA on the regular, it's bound to happen sooner or later.
Yeah, clearly.
What age would you want to be stuck at?
I don't know, the Cambrian age. There's some interesting plants.
I mean, yeah, you probably couldn't survive
Well,
with the atmosphere being what it was, but sure.
Cleo, it's not all about me though. It's about experiencing something beyond myself, even if only briefly.
It would be quite brief.
You know, if you think
what
about
I
how much
understand.
money people spend to relive the Jurassic Age, I mean,
Yeah, those costumes are tough. They're expensive. I meant like how old are you? Old you are? I was thinking like 28. Yes, I'm 28. Nobody say anything else. for you, Joe. You can say
Oh,
stuff.
hi. Yeah, so what I'm looking at now is the title font for the Apollo 13 pinball machine, um, which is based on the title font for the film Apollo 13, starring Tom Hanks, directed by Ron Howard.
Yeah. That was my childhood. Oof.
Yeah, the first game in the universe with 13 ball multi-ball. You want to feel like everything is blowing up on a spaceship. 13 balls getting thrown at you is kind of a lot. We've got one of these game terminal. It's something.
Yes. Sorry, Joe.
No, what? What are you apologizing for?
Nothing.
Okay. I feel like you made fun of me somehow, or you're acting
No,
like
I
you
didn't
made
make
fun of
fun
me,
of
but
you.
I didn't. I don't understand what it was, so I'm just gonna move on.
Yeah, that's probably.
It's like things I have time for, and things that are happening. There's not a
A hype
Venn.
train. Let's ignore the fact that I
Oh, you have a hype
am
train.
5 years old. I'm 5 years old. That's it. That's all that is. Thank you, Apathy Muffin, for resubscribing for 9 months with your Twitch baby. Lost Cult Gamers resubscribed for 2 months, and Chid Biddies, thank you very, very much. Oh dear. Thank you, Push, for the biddies. It's very appreciated.
So it's wider on the right side, and then the serif goes out further to the right than to the left, which is odd.
I recently saw the original John Pertwee version of Wurzel Gummidge, and I think he's now my paralysis demon. Oh yeah, I can definitely see that one.
John Pertwee. How do I know that name?
Doctor Who.
Oh, that's right.
But he also used to play Wurzel Gummidge, which was a sentient scarecrow that could change his heads. And yeah, sleep paralysis demon. I absolutely understand that. That was terrifying even when I was a kid. His son was Alfred in Gotham. Oh. I never watched Gotham. I don't watch a lot of DC stuff.
Yeah, Gotham was pretty watchable early on. One of the things I liked about it was that every fourth episode was an origin story for the Joker.
What?
So remember how, like, in that Dark Knight movie, how the Joker, like, is like, want to know how I got these scars, and then he has like 8 different stories about it?
Yeah.
They built that into their TV series. Is there every season has like 2 or 3 episodes where it's like, oh, that character could go on to become the Joker. Like the villain of the week that week is a possible like backstory for the Joker. And so it has a cool Batman vibe to it, but and lets them cycle in a bunch of no-name villains throughout the season, but each of the no-name villains could go on to become the Joker. If that makes any sense.
That actually sounds pretty cool.
And so that was a pretty cool element I appreciated. But what I didn't like was at one point when the Republican primary was going on for the 2016 election, they had a thing where the Penguin runs for mayor with "Make Gotham Great Again," and it was just like depressing. And I'm like, and it was depressing because they wrote it so far in advance of actual current events that they were constantly out-clowned by current events. And, and they're like, oh, wouldn't this be extreme if a politician said something like this? And then it's like, oh boy, there were like 15 things worse than that last week. You guys, oh boy. You guys need to either get a show that you can turn around quicker or avoid current events. Right?
Yeah.
You know, South Park can do current events because they turn the thing around in a week, right?
Yeah.
You know, but like...
It's like, if you're going to make your villain a politician...
Based on
you don't want to sound more
politician.
reasonable than the current politicians.
Yeah, it was a problem. That was when I stopped watching. And it wasn't that it was a bad show otherwise, but like that just kind of was like too much for me. I was just kind of like, oh boy, you guys bit off more than you could chew. and it's stressful for me to watch. Like I was
Because life is
imagining how upset the writing staff would be, like each time an episode came, like because they would also be dreading it every time they opened a newspaper, going, "That's next week. That's next week's whole episode," and
Yeah.
it doesn't matter at all. It turns out, huh? We have a whole season built around this. Like I was just like I could not get out of that. I was like, no.
Yeah, no, that sounds awful. That sounds like the worst thing.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons that we don't write Hermitcraft in advance. We don't need somebody else beating us to the punch.
Yeah, this is why Hermitcraft is completely unscripted.
Oh boy.
I mean, literally the only reason why it's unscripted, not because
Could
it
you
takes
imagine
a lot of
being
time.
those people that made the movie where the moon fell to Earth and finding out Hermitcraft was doing the same thing like 3 weeks before you? It's like womp womp. Like, we spent $8 billion on this movie, and they just went and I-Jevined it.
I Jevined it. How is that a thing?
Practice.
What sort of thing is I Jevined it even?
Well, none of our names really sound like the word did. So I was like,
Fair enough.
I-Jevined it. Vind sound the closest to did in my mental rhyming dictionary.
I see. It must have been terribly embarrassing for them.
I mean, of course, they all got paid. So, they're
We feel
fine.
less sorry for them. We feel less sorry for them. They got paid.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. These are not good copies of the letters or the letter forms. I'm just trying to wrap my head around them at this point. These are like sketches. They're not accurate. I'm looking at what details are important to capture their spirit. So, like, if I had a trap from Ghostbusters, I'd want to get these serifs on here. And I want them roughly proportional, but they don't have to be 100% accurate. Yeah, the kerning isn't really accurate for what I'm doing right now, but that's not really... Kerning is something you can always tweak later. That's not something you have to get right on the sketch.
Yeah, and arguably something that before you did it on the pinball machine, you would.
Yeah, I would be messing with that a lot before we actually go do it.
The movie seemed pretty embarrassing on its own. Never saw the movie. I'd lived through it. What do you want from me?
Oh, boy. Apollo 13. Moon big.
Moon big. So, question. With the other lettering, you've written deep field.
Yeah.
This time you're writing Apollo.
Yeah. So, Apollo 13 is the name of a pinball machine created by Sega Pinball, based on the film Apollo 13, starring Tom Hanks, directed by Opie from...
Yeah, I know, but I thought you were just doing this in reference to your machine, your pinball machine.
Yeah.
So you were just seeing what the title would...
Yeah, but the thing is, before I, make... If I was going to write deep field in this, I need to understand, how the serifs work, how the letters are balanced and stuff first, right? So I'm copying the actual one to wrap my head around it better.
I guess that makes sense.
Because, it's easier to compare what I write and what's on the screen and be able to tell if I missed anything. If I'm writing the same letters here, right? So, if I look at the one and I'm like, oh, hey, this serif at the bottom should come out further. I'll see that, but I wouldn't necessarily... But why should it come out further? Okay, well, I can look at it and think about it and stuff. But if I'm just taking there's no E in this. right?
Right.
There's no D, so it's like I'm gonna have to extrapolate some of that based on the L's and the O's. There's no F. Most of the letters none of the letters I need are in Apollo 13 except P, right?
Right.
Now I could also figure out what typeface they used for this as a starting point, and then write the word deep field in that. But
I mean, that was what I was expecting to happen.
oh.
But you know what?
Yeah,
it's
maybe
nothing
I should have
to do with
chose
me.
something that was clearly hand lettered in the first place for this first one, and this would make
Yeah.
more sense.
Fine, Joe. Who's gonna call you anything on it?
I mean,
Me?
you are literally doing that right now.
Yeah.
Okay,
But who other than me?
needs to come out further here. Okay. Let's go ahead and delete that
Right.
layer. Delete that layer. What's this layer? That's the Starship one. Let's go ahead and crop that down. So this one is more clearly a handwritten font, or like hand designed font. Aren't actual mission patches logos more public domain source materials? Well, the thing is, like, I'm not using the art directly here in the machine. Right. So, like, if I wanted to, if I was going to put art directly on the side of the playfield in Minecraft, like pixelate some existing artwork, using actual NASA mission patches and photos would be public domain, and that would be no problem copyright-wise. But I couldn't just take this person's copyrighted illustration ripping off the Star Trek Enterprise. I'd have
No, you can't.
no.
Legally.
But
And the other hermits would go, I'll allow it. Probably.
yeah. But, like, for example, even like that Shrek pixel art, we could have theoretically gotten copyright strikes on YouTube or claims on our videos for.
True.
There's an argument that it's not derivative enough. But what we'd be doing here, where we're looking at how letter forms are made, you actually cannot copyright letter forms individually, which is a big problem for font foundries. That's one of the reasons that kerning data is so important for a quote-unquote good font. Like, there will be rip-offs of all sorts of good fonts out there, but they don't have the kerning data, which you can copyright or trademark, or I guess, no, it's copyright. But yeah, like, there's a bunch of weird laws around fonts. Like, I had to deal with them a lot when I was working part-time as a graphic designer, because the place I was working didn't have, they were like, you're the computer guy, and we've only got 25 hours of database and server work a month for you to do. Can you spend the other 15 hours a month designing posters? And I'm like, that's not really a complementary skill set, but my hobby is making comics, so I actually do know all the fundamentals. So
Yeah, but you should be paying me for my time.
well, I mean, technically, no, but their concern was we don't have 40 hours a week. You're salaried, and there's not 40 hours a week of server work to do and programming.
Yeah, fair enough.
So but yeah, I could pull up my what is that thing? It's like a portfolio website. I think Adobe bought them. Dang it. Blanking on the name of it. It was like, it was a huge deal back in like 2004, and my portfolio is still up there of the work I did at the time. It was before Dribble. I remember when Dribble came out being like, I'm not moving my
Station
stuff over to Dribble.
Wix.
Behance, there it is. Behance.net. Is it /Joe Hills? Let me find out. Yeah.
Need piece of paper. Somebody asked what journal I use. I use Otagami.
Yeah, so here's a bunch of events I did when I was working as a developer for Vanderbilt University. And I did the illustrations, photography, and design for them. Well, some of these had photographs that were provided, like, oh, this is an author reading. The author's publicist sent me a photo of him. But, like, the illustrations here... Oh, some of these other photos definitely weren't taken by me, because one of them was taken on, like, a crane, and I don't have a crane.
My high school took the logo for the mascot of a big university. They got a legal threat, so they slightly tweaked it, but they still use it for the wrestling team. Ooh.
But once again, this was, you know, me taking what I knew about making comics and then joining AIGA to attend, like, monthly letters on, or not letters, monthly lectures on design. But, like, the thing is, if you join an organization like that, most of the monthly lectures on design aren't going to be, here's what you should have learned in design school, right? They're going to be, here's what's the cutting edge stuff, or here's interesting new laws that affect your business.
Is your continuing professional development.
Yeah. But, you know, from that, I got a lot about... learned a lot of the stuff about running your own 3-person graphic design firm is also applicable to running a 1-person with contractors YouTube firm, right? So I'm just like, it wasn't necessarily a waste of my time.
That sounds reasonable.
So let me see if I need to put this layer underneath your layer. 1 second. Where's the
Is there an layer? Am I a full-time YouTuber? I am a full-time YouTuber and Twitcher. Not Twitcher, because that means bird watcher. Anyway,
is
but
it
you know
really?
What I mean.
Is that the word for bird watcher over there?
It's like, yeah, you're a Twitcher.
Oh wow.
Is there an interesting backstory to my username? Cleo used to be my name on WoW, and it just came over with me. I used to be a undead, shockingly.
Oh, I realized I forgot to post the Behance link for the... Oh, you know what I also haven't mentioned is that I accept tips. Let me post my PayPal link. We're only a half hour into the stream. But yeah, tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHills and YouTube Super Chat. We're doing rotational tips for the thing that we're doing. Okay. So, this Starship. The thing I like about this font is it's very blocky. And, this might be a good... Oh.
Longest running character was an undead mage. Yeah, that's what I used to play. I
want to bust out the French curve.
And I played around base game, and then for 6 years.
Make sure I'm in frame here. Doing well, Altix. Glad you could join us.
Got your name. You're Jim13. It says there on your Twitch account.
So let's see. How does this go? This would go across like that, almost all the way to the bottom.
Okay, there it's done.
And let's get like a sharp angle there.
Roletti Craft has resubscribed for 14 months. Paleo Cheered Biddies and Red Steel Eagle has resubscribed for 16 months. Can't believe it's been 16 months of watching Cleo on Twitch. Neither can I. It's kind of surreal at times that I was still at my job when I started doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was like, wow. It just seems bizarre.
Bizarre ship. Starship.
I'm still waiting kind of for it to go poorly, you know?
Uh-huh.
And it's like every so often it's just sort of like it's gonna end up going bad. I've just got to ride this out for as long as I can. And so far it hasn't. And you know, my brain is like, eventually I'm gonna have to go back to school. I don't want to, but eventually I will. Mm-hmm. So we've always believed in you. Oh yeah, you guys definitely have always believed in me. But yeah. Not great at believing in myself, really.
The downstroke should be thicker on the O's for the Apollos. Yeah, probably. If I was actually gonna use that one on the Minecraft one, I would actually be trying to use a font matching thing. Like right now I'm just kind of doing a survey, so I'm not worried too much about getting everything right. We're just trying to mess around with what's out there, right?
Yeah. Has it been a good experience? Yeah, for the most part, it's been great. You know, it's like the anxiety stuff is all about, you know, making it on your own kind of deal. So, and I'm doing that, so I feel much less stressed than I used to.
Yay.
Yay.
You're gonna make it after all.
I mean, I blooming hope so. Believing in yourself is a lot of work, but you'll get there, Cleo. Well, the good thing about catastrophizing is you're never unprepared for when the worst happens.
Cleo, I'm gonna say that's not true. Like, because I catastrophize like crazy, but then I still realized that I was too tired for my preparations to be done properly.
Yeah, that'd do it.
So, because for example, when my bank changed their user interface, and I was looking at, so I have to set aside money every quarter for the IRS, right, to pay my quarterly taxes. And what I thought was my checking balance was my quarterly tax savings balance, because they moved the user interface around so the accounts were in different places when you log in, like the reported balances. And so I thought that I was doing everything right and preparing for every externality. But in reality, I was looking at the wrong numbers because I was tired.
Yeah, no. I see where that would go.
So like, just because you're catastrophizing doesn't mean you can't. You shouldn't also take care of yourself to ensure that your planning works.
For a truly dedicated and creative pessimist, every surprise is a good one. Fair.
Now, in fairness, once I did realize my mistake, like an hour before a bill went through that would have bounced a check, I was able to route around that damage because I had a plan for if I ran out of money. But I didn't know to activate that plan or realize that I was that close to needing to activate that plan, because there are other plans I could have put into effect 3 days earlier if I realized, my balance is getting a little low. Let me postpone this bill or move that, right? So,
right.
I don't know.
It's always good. Good to know. Good to know. I mean, relatively speaking.
Okay.
For the record, guys, I genuinely not entirely sure. Well, I know what I'm doing on this. I'm making a tent. But where I'm going with this, I don't know. I just wanted little flappy bits.
Triangle.
It's an open tent. See? You open it and there's my planner. Trying to get creative. It might not necessarily work, but you know, it'll do.
These are the fields. Here is the manor. Open the pages. It's Cleo's planner.
That's pretty good, Joe.
Thank you.
Hello! Can I help you? You are a bot. It's about the journey, not the destination. True. And who else is going to see my planner? It's my planner. My cat. Yeah, this is
also
Atlas.
Everybody, you stream your planner too once a week.
I mean, yeah, but who are they going to tell? Also, I was using my planner and I opened it to the butts page today, and somebody in real life saw it, and I'm just like, oh no. It's fine. It's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I can definitely show my face there again. Needy kitty time. It's always needy kitty time. When is it needy Cleo time?
Oh, hey, we had a PayPal tip roll in. Thank you very much to Fifth Alice, who says, "Howdy, Joe. I work at a thrift store and recently found an electronic Pokédex from 1998. Check the price, and it's worth around 80 euros. So I'm sharing with you my lucky find with this tip." Thank you, Fifth Alice. That's going to get us 5 more degrees of angular rotation. I hope you got to play with the Pokédex a little bit before you offloaded it, because that sounds really cool. I didn't even know... Like, that's the sort of thing I would read about in, like, the Toys R Us catalog, but never had as a kid, right?
No, same.
I got my kid a book Pokédex because she likes drawing Pokemon, so she could reference the different Pokemon and color them, like draw them and color them herself.
The question is, how many people were in the how many Pokemon were in the electronic Pokédex?
I would guess it would have been 150.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
If it's
but
1998,
it really depends.
Maybe 151 because Mew. It's all old school pixel art. Fifth Alice says, "I am playing with it. It's so cool." Oh, that's awesome.
Excellent.
Oh, Mahi says Alice mentioned on Twitter not selling it. Oh, okay. Cool.
You don't have to sell it just because Joe said that.
No, I got the impression, the way it was worded, like, "Oh, I found this thing cheap that I'm selling for more. Here's 5." That was so.
I mean, that's a reasonable assumption.
If you asked me if you should sell something like that, I would have recommended against it. But like, I was assuming that you had already sold it, so I was not going to say that. Because yeah, that sounds awesome. Like,
oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Oh, I went to an actual used bookstore. Like most of the used bookstores in Nashville have closed down.
Yeah.
We have one that stays afloat by also being a vinyl record shop. It's a vinyl record shop that keeps adding more and more books because more and more bookstores have closed, and like there's just enough demand for them to keep expanding the book part, right?
Yeah.
Jesus. But yeah, I was able to find a couple uncommon, not like super rare, but like they were like, you know, $7 each, not, you know, but like there's the sort of thing like I guess I could probably go on Amazon and get some of these books used, but I don't wanna.
I mean, that is entirely reasonable.
But yeah, I found a couple collections of Hunter S. Thompson's papers, because like you'll always be able to get Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas, but like some of the other stuff is like, if you see it, you might want to pick it up because you don't know like how many of those are going to be floating around. Yeah. Like at this point, like I'm trying to I don't want to have too much of a book collection before I buy a house. I say that, but like I mean it's still like 12 boxes of books or something stupid.
Yeah, I know that.
Like, but I'm like, what are the books that like if I don't buy it now, I'll go looking for it in 10 years on Amazon, and it's like one paperback available, $87, right? Like What are the things that they're not putting in EPUB for? They're not going to bother making an ebook of it, right?
Yeah.
Type of
No, that
stuff.
makes sense.
You know. Um,
And the Long Dark is very good at absorbing my time. I appreciate you, Paleo.
The Long Dark is a very fun game. I like to play that game when I'm sick because it's a game about managing your. It's a Canada simulator, and
Yeah.
you're basically trying to stay alive in the wilderness of Canada. So you have to manage your core temperature, you have to manage your hydration, and you have to manage your food. And when I'm sick, those are the three things that I have to manage to recover. And so I'll sit there and play this game, and I'll be like, "Oh, I'm thirsty too. I should go drink some water." Whereas if I'm like playing Pokemon Snap, like Pokemon Snap doesn't, like, when I'm sick and I'm like half loopy, I'm not gonna make that connection. Like, I took a bunch of photos of Pokemon. I should have some water now. But I play the Long Dark and I'm like, man, I keep getting thirsty in game. Oh, I feel thirsty in real life. Let me go get some water.
Yeah, I mean, I've been playing it on stream for like the last 4 weeks. I'm kind of obsessed at the moment. I've been also been playing it in my downtime as well because I enjoy it. But it's one of those games where I can't put it down if I get started in it for a bit.
Oh,
So
yeah, me either. That's one of the reasons I also only play it when I can't be working on anything else, because otherwise I won't work on anything else. It's too good. I haven't played the story mode yet, because when I got it
don't
before the story
like
mode was added.
Yeah, me too. I don't like the story mode that much. It's a bit too easy, you know.
Yeah, I tried it briefly, and it felt like it was very on rails, which I guess is how stories work. But since the other game is so open world, like the core survival game is so open world, it was just very jarring for me.
Yeah, I am in a similar boat. I'm not a big fan of being like. I mean, I can be told like you should go here, and I'll go. Oh, okay, I'll go here then.
Yeah.
Um, but it's sort of like. I mean, I enjoy the survival aspect of it,
Yeah.
so why don't I just play the survival game?
Yeah, I like exploring and like trying to, and so when they add new areas, that's always something where I'm like, okay.
Yeah, I mean, there are still some areas that I didn't go into. I literally just got to the top of Timberwolf Mountain.
I still haven't
Like,
gotten to the
this
plane.
week.
That's like on my to-do list at some point, but like I just haven't.
In Pleasant Valley?
No, there's the crashed plane there's a mountain that has a crashed plane on top of it.
Yeah, Timberwolf Mountain.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
But also there is a crashed plane in Pleasant Valley.
Yeah, but that's like your plane, I think. Like that's like.
No, that's in Milton.
Is it?
Yep.
Okay. I didn't realize that there was a full crashed jet in Pleasant Valley.
Yeah, it's up in the mountainous part.
Okay.
If you hang a left before you go up to Timberwolf Mountain,
Okay.
it's up there.
Gotcha. Yeah, I need to go check
Told you I've
that
been
out.
playing it for a.
Yeah, clearly. I don't remember the names of most of the places, you know.
That's reasonable.
But like, it's one of those things where it's like I've only actually like used the forge once, and I'm terrible at it. And like,
Oh, I'm bad at the forge as well. Don't worry.
I'm very like,
I've actually
Oh, go on.
turned off predator behavior in one of my saves just so I could explore. I've still got like, max kind of like hunger and health and
The
stuff.
thing,
but-
no, I actually messed with that too, and the reason for that is because in real life, those animals would not approach you.
Oh yeah.
Like,
yeah.
I like playing it as like a relatively realistic survival
Yeah.
game, and like the part of the backstory of the mystery is like electronics don't work and animals are super aggressive, and I'm like, I'm fine with the electronics don't work because let's say you're out of batteries and it's cold, fine,
Yeah.
That I'm 100% on board with. But like
Yeah, and this entire thing has had its entire this entire island's had its
ecosystem.
infrastructure just be destroyed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, like I'm fine with remote abandoned island, electronics failing, but like the wolf behavior was so aggressive that like it
yeah.
didn't fit with my wilderness survival training and it kept pulling me out of the reality of the game, if that makes any sense.
Oh
And
no, yeah, I 100% get
and
that.
so I turned it down because I was like I want this like closer to where it would be,
Yeah,
in real life.
I turned it off in my personal game. Not for the one I'm doing on stream because people like to see me get mauled by wolves and bears. But
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Is there a two-player? If there was a multiplayer mode of that, if they ever add that, let me know. I would love to do a two-player
oh
stream.
yeah, 100%, 100%.
Um,
I'm getting to the point where it's like, I mean, there are still places I haven't seen, you know.
well, and that's
So
the thing is we could say we're gonna pick one of the areas we haven't played before as our starting area, and we'll just
mhm.
because one of the things that's tempting is to just say like, okay, let's just start off at the lake house or what's that camp, whatever. It's like
The one in Mystery Lake, yeah.
yeah, Mystery Lake. It's like, oh, you can definitely live indefinitely a Mystery Lake. That's not
Oh,
a
100%. But that's not
challenge.
fun.
No, the fun is wandering around, right?
100%, yeah.
Um, so
I mean, it's like, I like going and I like killing mooses and bears
oh
with
yeah,
just shots to the head. It's great.
oh yeah.
Especially if you
I almost never
sorry.
get to the point where I actually have any guns, like because they're hard to get in some depending on how I guess what your settings are, but or where you.
Well, in my game that I'm playing on stream, I have found no less than four guns, four
Wow,
rifles and three handguns.
wow. I'm
And I'm like,
the
each time it happened, I'm just like,
wow.
so
The random number generator was very generous with you, Cleo.
it was very kind to me. And I'm just like, okay.
Yeah, I think I've like I'm lucky if I find some rocks to throw at rabbits, and then I'm bad at throwing the rocks at the rabbits. Like,
Oh, no one's good at throwing rocks at rabbits. Um, like so long as you can kill two rabbits. I mean, I killed four rabbits in one day, and that was a good day.
wow.
So, um, but yeah, I mean, like making snares for rabbits is just feels like the easy way to go.
Yeah.
You know?
No, you're but I think that's what's the intended mechanic is like the whole game is built around the more you think ahead and prepare, the
Yeah.
better off you are. But at the same time, you can't stay in one place too long or you'll exhaust the resources and freeze to death and die. And like it's hard for me to know um how far I like it's hard for me to know like how far I can go. Where's the next shelter? When you haven't explored like because people who know the game, they're like, okay, you go here, you stop for the night. You go here, you stop for the
Yeah.
night. Like they have this all mapped out. But for me, I'm just like, okay, now it's night and a blizzard, and I didn't bring an emergency shelter because I don't have enough fabric yet. I never have enough blank yet. You know.
Yeah. No. Which is fun. That is a really nice way of doing things, I think.
Yeah, I die in
Um,
the first like 3 or 4 nights of the game most of the time. If I can get
oh.
somewhere like one of the more like sustainable areas, like if I can reach the hidden lake cabin or whatever it's called,
Mhm.
the camp, or the
Yeah.
there's like a farmhouse, and I think that's Pleasant Valley, right? The
That's
farmhouse.
Pleasant Valley, yeah.
Yeah, if I can reach
I
one of
mean,
those places, then yeah, I'll probably be able to get last a little while longer. The hydroelectric dam has a lot of good stuff in it usually.
yeah, I'm always a good fan of the hydroelectric dam. There's usually a lot of deer corpses around there, so
Oh,
yeah.
people are asking what game. It's called The Long
The
Dark.
Long Dark.
Yeah,
The
this
Long Dark is like I've got 330 hours on it at the moment, so
boy. Okay, now I have to know what my hours are on it. What do I do? Go to library here. The Long Dark. 65.9 hours. Okay. That for me is still a reasonable amount of time.
Yeah,
But
and it's enough time to know the game, but not to know the
no, I
game.
don't. I don't know. Oh, I see. You did get an achievement for Timberwolf Mountain.
Yeah, no, I was really proud of that one because that one is a nightmare of endurance because it's like you've got to sort of circle your way up the mountain, and you think you're going to take it, and there are like caches of food
Yeah.
all the way up there, and you think you're gonna like, okay, it can't take me more than like it takes you what, a day to get across most of those maps, and then I'm like, okay, it can't take me more than a day to get up this mountain.
Yeah.
It took me 4 days in total, I think. Just like just trying to get up, and that's with passive wildlife, you know. I didn't bring enough food. Fortunately, caches got my back
That's
because
good.
there was like entire survivor meals in the thing. So yeah, it's such an interesting thing to play.
I'm looking at my my achievements here. The longest survival mode game I've ever run is apparently 25 days, and there's there's a achievement that tracks like how many nights you've spent outside.
Yeah.
I beneath a starry sky, survived 3 consecutive nights outside, single game. I can tell you that was not because of good planning. Yeah, that was because of bad planning. There's another one that's like survive. Can you try to make 25 consecutive full days, only consuming calories harvested from wild plants and animals? I've got 7 out of 25 on that, and that was a week of me just barely subsisting on cattails. That was not me going, oh, I'm gonna totally get this achievement and be really good at this game. That was me being really bad at this game.
There is a cheat with cattails, which I've never used because I don't see the point in cheating in a survival game that no one's watching.
Okay.
But it's like if you only partially eat the cattail and you put it in any inventory, with a full cattail, and then you take them back out, they will all become full cattails again.
Oh, I don't like that. I didn't know that.
No,
That's not like
that's not how I play the game.
no, I
so-
wouldn't want to play the game like that. Like it's like I want to play the game where I have to keep moving, and if I'm lucky, I survive.
Oh, 100%. I have I think I'm at 70 days on my highest run through.
Oh wow. That beats my 25 quite handily.
Yeah, well, the reason why it was like that is because that's the playthrough that I stayed at Mystery Lake.
Oh, yeah.
Weeks on end, and I got bored, and then I'm just like, no, I'm gonna go and explore everything.
Yeah.
Mini Cheese Mouse cheered biddies said happy Wednesday, thank you. So yeah, so now what I'm doing is I'm exploring everything. I've put the resources onto relatively high, so I can actually find food, what have you. So yeah,
I think
I'm enjoying that.
I think what I would probably do if I was going to stream this solo, obviously, like I said, I would love to stream this multiplayer, but I don't think they're likely to add multiplayer anytime soon.
No.
Because I got most of these achievements back in 2017, which is now 5 years ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, if I was going to do it, what I would probably do is I would do a run where I max everything out to the ultra hard mode. And I would say, okay, guys, I'm going to introduce a new game to you that you've never seen me play before. And I want to play with some of the settings turned down just so that we can actually experience the game fully. But just to show you why we need to do that, here it is in all its glory. And, like, you know, I'm going to walk outside, immediately get frostbite, make it about 12 feet before I get mauled by a bear, and then 3 minutes into the game, it's like, okay, and now we're going to play a run that will hopefully last more than 3 minutes. Because, like, you can die so fast.
You can die so quickly. I'm Nugget has subscribed. Welcome to the Horde. You look to the left and to the right, you'll see there are no exits. I die very fast if it's, you know, on maximum. And there are some people that last thousands and thousands of days, and I'm just like,
You know, Zisto
How?
is like he's one of the he did long dark streams where he was like, okay, we've got to cook. Like he would kill a bear and a moose and be like, okay, time to knock out our cooking for the next 7 weeks or something, and like we're gonna.
See, I don't knock out my cooking like that. I could, but I do micro harvest the food so I can get my cooking skill up so I don't
Do they still allow
get
you to do that? I
intestinal
thought they
paralysis.
fixed that at some point.
No, they do. They still let you do that.
Okay.
Um,
No,
but yeah,
he had. There was one stream I popped in on, and he was cooking like 300 pounds of meat at once, or something. It's insane, and he had like 4 fires going, and it was like that old like Burger Time Atari game, where he's just continuously running around. Oh, that one's gonna burn. That one's gonna burn. That one's gonna burn. That one's gonna burn. Boom, 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 boom. Like it's like
does sound very Z-Stone.
perfectly timing, pulling things off and putting new ones on all these fires, and it's like. Oh wow, this is not the level I am playing this game at.
No, no. Let's be honest. I'm playing the game at a reasonable level of difficulty, but not. It's not too easy, not too hard, and I don't want to scream when I die because at that point I know it's my fault if I die on those modes. You know.
Well, yeah, because
As
that's the
opposed
thing
to
is
the
when
game just
you
being
play on
unfair.
like the like hard modes and stuff, like it can just literally the game can be impossible. Like you can just get bad RNG, random
Yeah.
number generation, and it's like ouch.
It's like when you get put in like the Black Rock Penitentiary, surrounded by timber wolves, and you've got a shirt and trainers on, and it's like, okay.
I haven't actually played that area yet. I think they added that after. Like I said, like I only play it now when I'm like really sick. So I played it some while I had COVID.
That's reasonable.
But like, yeah, so I actually play this game like 2 or 3 days every other year because, like, it takes a lot for me to be like quote unquote like too sick to work. You know?
Yeah, no, I've seen that.
And that's that. Yeah, that's my threshold. Is it's like, I can't spend all day in bed. But anything that I actually try to work on that's important, I will like be in a fever, delirium, and ruin. So like you don't want to log into Hermitcraft when you're like fever delirious because you could like lose all your gear and stuff, right?
No, no.
So or get
So what I'm hearing
get
is
Hot Guide.
the reason why you suck is because you're always playing when you've got a fever and you're delirious.
That's my secret cap. I'm always delirious.
I mean, there is that too, yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy.
But yeah, you can like if you guys are looking for a game to just immerse yourself in and just be the person, it's such a good game. It's such a good game.
Yeah, The Long Dark is very, very good. And, like, I don't think it's super expensive either. It was, like, subsidized by the Canadian government to encourage tourism or something.
It's like
And I don't know that it did it, but... Long Dark. Oh, it's $35. But if you get it on... If you get it on a Steam sale, I guess the price has gone up. I think I bought it when... I bought it when it was in, like, early access or something.
Yeah, so did I.
Like, back in 2017.
I mean, the game's not finished, and they are adding things all the time. So, you know, there are worse games that you spend more money on.
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, 330 hours.
Yeah, and like I said, I've got 70 hours in it, and I almost never have time to play video games. Like, I say that as somebody who plays video games for a living.
That's work. That's not
Right,
playing
but like
a
that's
video
the
game.
thing is like
I'll be honest, guys. I'm pleased about how this one turned out. I wasn't expecting it to go anywhere.
little tent flaps.
Little tent flaps, open it,
Yeah,
and just like, yeah. So, making a tent or ferryman. This is definitely a tent in the wilderness. Anthem. I don't know what Anthem is.
It's a book by Ayn Rand.
Okay. Probably not very good then. I don't know what I'm doing. Just in general, you know? Just in general. You're bullet journaling too. Like, here's the thing. I don't really do bullet journaling for the organization aspect. I'm at the point where it's like, you know, I just want to make it look pretty. You know?
Yeah.
I need things to look pretty in my life.
Well, that's why you got me.
You are pretty.
Thank you, Cleo.
You're very welcome, Joe.
Cosmos. Gotta add a crop layer here. Or filter.
Mm-hmm.
Oh boy, more crop.
Speaking of hyped up games, and they failed to make sure it was working properly, and got it on pre-order.
Mm-hmm.
I have Fallout 76 power armor helmet on my wall currently. So yeah, I get it. Have you thought about scrap journaling or junk journaling, where you just make spreads of pretty things? I mean, arguably that's what I'm doing. You know, it's pretty. It's nice. So.
Toxic Glitter says, from the sounds of it, the Long Dark is very similar to Don't Starve. Well, Don't Starve is the premise of the game, and Don't Freeze to Death and Don't Dehydrate. So I don't know anything really about Don't Starve, but if survival is important in both games, then they have that in common.
It is a survival game, but The Long Dark is more slow-paced, methodical, requires much more thought if you're going to survive. So, yeah. Fallout New Vegas is so good, but on release, Fallout 76 wasn't so good. However, it has improved recently, so, you know.
Well, isn't recently, like, way after it came out, though?
Oh, yeah, like a year after it came out, they introduced people.
Wait, what do you mean they introduced people? Like they're like, hi, this is my friend Steve? Or, like, they added the concept of humans to the game?
Oh, well, the whole point of 76 was something a plague had happened and wiped out all the other people, so it was just you people going out onto the surface.
Mm-hmm.
So the first year of the game was just you and the other people and, like, robots and stuff. So, yeah. That's kind of the antithesis of Fallout, because Fallout is all about the people.
It's all about the interactions with the other survivors and stuff. Or whatever you call them.
And when you don't have that, you don't really have a Fallout game anymore.
Mm-hmm. Do you have a good game at least?
It wasn't great. No,
okay.
The mechanics were very good. I appreciated the mechanics, but it wasn't until they added people in a patch and, like, settlers coming in and factions that did it feel like a Fallout game.
Gotcha. Well, this Cosmos one was way faster than everything else I've done.
Okay. Is The Long Dark better than Don't Starve together? I prefer it, but it's my, you know, it's my tastes, and your taste might be different. I would rather play The Long Dark than Don't Starve together, because I played Don't Starve for, like, I got reasonably good at it, you know, but I'm not really a fan, you know. Work has resubscribed for 16 months. You're Super 16. Where's your party? Probably out the exit. Honey Slaughter has resubscribed for 8 months. Thank you both very much indeed. It's very much appreciated.
Okay, so wait, Mahi Zero says in the original Fallout 76 they were trying to make it like an MMO and wanted all the people to be players. Well, okay, okay, so there's a difference between a single player game with no NPCs and a multiplayer game where you're surrounded by other humans.
Yeah, but again, you couldn't really interact unless you wanted to invite randos into your conversation, and there were only 8 people in the world at the same time.
That's not the massive multiplayer.
No, there's like 8 people on a map at any one time of all different levels, so you could technically group up, but it didn't capture the Fallout feel very well. And I'm not saying it wasn't good. The mechanics were great. It's just it didn't have what I come to expect from a Fallout game. So that's the point, Greg. Hell never changes. Honestly, if you have got Fallout 76 and because they're still adding content to it even now, if you've already got the game, go and take a look. It's much more involving now, and there's like a main quest, you know?
That's good.
So yeah, there's a main quest, there's characters that are interesting, there are factions. You believe Game Pass has it? Possibly. But genuinely speaking, it's well worth a look, and I would recommend it. If you have already had it and you gave up before any of that stuff was added.
If you own it anyway, you might as well enjoy it now that it's possible to be enjoyed.
Exactly. Yeah. If you like, would I recommend people buy it now? I think I probably would if you got it on sale. You know? So you know, it is you can enjoy it. I can enjoy it. So have you played The Forest? Actually, it's on my list of games to play with Corpse. After we've done the raft, we're looking at The Forest.
I like that these are both like the noun
Yeah.
that ends with a T. The forest. The raft.
So yeah, well, we're always looking for like multiplayer games that make us want to play them, as opposed to multiplayer games that make us want to, you know,
Leave.
cry.
Yeah. It's like, I'm done with this one. Can I put it down now?
I mean, there's a like that Midnight Ghost Hunt one that I recommended the other day that I wanted to look at. I mean, that's come from like, it's just like, yeah, where are we going to find 8 people?
Yeah, and I'm assuming you actually need the full 8 people.
Yeah, you need the full 8 people if you want to play together. Which is the problem. Or you can, you know, get a group and go sit in a lobby.
Like, I just that sort of thing kills me when games have like fixed numbers that you need to play with.
Yeah.
Oh, have you did you play much Quake back in the day?
No, I've never played Quake.
Gotcha. Well, never mind that.
King Slumberous Shibiddies. Found you on YouTube. Love your sense of humor and your videos. My sense of humor is an acquired taste, which you have acquired. Well done.
Yeah, you did it.
You did it! Hooray! Green Hell is another awesome multiplayer survival game. The thing is, I want a game where it's like possible for us to go a bit loopy. So like,
you want to be able to be a little silly and have some fun.
Yeah, and it's like Corpse told me, like, I watched a playthrough of The Forest and they immediately resorted into cannibalism, and they said, that seems like an Us game, and I'm like, you're not wrong. So, you know.
Yeah, the thing about The Long Dark is if you keep it on the hardest mode, you really can't have any fun with it in terms of being like fast and loose and like it's one of those things where if you're like, oh, I wonder if I could climb down that cliff safely. It's like, no, you're gonna die.
you're just gonna die.
Like,
Whereas if you do it in like the lowest mode, it's like you've just broken both your legs and your rib cage.
but
can
the game
survive
isn't
this.
over. Yeah, now you have to go get medicine and deal with some other stuff. But like, the game is not over instantly.
Yeah, it's okay. Like my ankles, like, oh, for those people who've been watching my Long Dark playthrough and were just like, are your ankles made of paper? I found in my single player world crampons that go on your feet, and they make your ankles not be made of paper. They're at the top of not Timberwolf Mountain. They're in a gold mine in the thing in the level you get to after Timberwolf Mountain. Welcome, browser.
I don't think I've gotten that far.
No,
Like,
but I found it, and it's just like, it's my favorite thing. So yeah, I do enjoy me a good not breaking of the ankles. My wrists, on the other hand, my wrists still break. But you know, it's better breaking 2 wrists than 2 ankles and 2 wrists.
oh yeah.
No matter what anyone says to you.
Don't let Big Splint tell you otherwise. All they care about is sales.
Planet Crafter, survival game about terraforming a planet. Isn't any enemies. Still no. I'll have a look at that one. Here's the thing. I don't need enemies in a game to enjoy it. I need good mechanics and a compelling way to explore. So...
Yeah. I will say, like, one thing that I think kind of hurt me in the Long Dark is I really liked running, even when I didn't have to run, because I felt like the character... Like, I understand that they're simulating trudging.
Yeah.
But, like, I really just don't want to trudge across all of Canada. I kind of want to move a little bit faster than that.
The problem that I've had with the Long Dark since its inception is there are no mod supports for it. All the mods are purely language packs.
What mods
and I think
would
the Long
you
Dark
add?
would... Huh?
You know. I'll tell you what mod I would add. I would add an actual 24-hour clock. Because what drives me crazy is I know how far I can walk in 20 minutes, right? Mm-hmm. And the character walks at roughly the same speed, but 20 minutes is one full daylight cycle.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I should be able in a day to walk further than I can walk in 20 minutes. Like, I feel like I'm not making, like, a longer... Okay, and fine, it's a video game. So let's say that a day is an hour and a half instead of 24 hours or something. Or, you know what I mean? Like, something like that. That's definitely the first thing that I would change if I was just trying to make it tuned to my tastes. I don't know that would make it a better game for everyone. I understand that part of the challenge is contending with the night, but, like, I want to see it's a beautiful map. I want to travel it. I want to see it.
Yeah.
That the walk speed versus the length of the day is my single biggest complaint.
I am kind of with you there.
Surprisingly, Cleo and I agree about something.
We agree about most things, but it's just it's no use talking about the things you agree with.
Yeah, that's true.
My thought is I would add no run exhaustion, because that's the thing that I would do. I would also like to I'd also like to make the bears I'd like to make it possible to fight back the bears the same way you can do with wolves. Because when a bear gets you, you can't do anything. You've just got, which is, reasonable, because once you're attacked by a bear.
Or like adding more abilities to shout and scare off animals and stuff like that.
Yes.
Like you would in real life. Like, I don't need the ability to punch a bear to kill it, but like if I see a bear like in the distance, I should be able to like bang some cans together or bang a pot and pan. If I'm carrying a pan with me, I should be able to hit it with something and shout and make the bear flee me. Now, if I'm up in the bear's grill already, it might be too late, but like
There is a thing that I found out that you might want to know for next time you play. If you like wolves, like regular torches also stop wolves attacking.
yeah, I'm aware.
If you drop the torch at your foot and you pull back a rock as if to throw it at them, they will run away.
Oh, that's interesting.
So drop the torch, pull back a rock, throw it, and you're not going to get eaten. Do I do that?
No.
Probably not, because I suck at the game. But it's fine. Ow! I just dropped a glue stick on the tippy tip of my toe.
I was wondering. I was like, that sounds like a genuine pain noise. You're witnessing actual human frailty, people. Savor it.
Savor it. Wow. Dark, but okay.
I mean, I don't know, Cleo.
That's your problem, Joe. You never know.
No.
You just never know.
Baked Flamingo TM says, I didn't know you could scare off bears IRL. Yeah. It depends. But
I mean, if they're really hungry.
Yeah, like,
no.
but most bears aren't really hungry. You're just kind of near them inconveniently. And so, you just start making a lot of noise. They don't know if you've got a gun, Bears a lot of wild animals have seen humans mess up other animals, right? Like, so.
Yeah, like if a bear's seen you shoot a deer.
Yeah, or if a bear has seen any human shoot a deer.
Yeah.
Right? Like, they're like,
and
I don't know.
And you make a loud noise.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know, are they getting their wizard thing ready? As far as bears know, we're all wizards.
Yeah, it's sort of like, I saw them make a loud noise and then the deer fell over and bled to death.
Yeah.
So... one of my favorite things to do in the long dark is to put detection on close, so the animals have to be really close to detect you. Sneaking up on a bear and just shooting it through the head so it just falls down. It's like, that's what you get. That's only working if you got passive animals on.
I do like stealth elements in games
that don't have stealth elements, really.
Well, but like Pokemon, the latest Pokemon game, you could actually like sneak up on these giant Pokemon. Like you would use you'd have to use like several items because you'd need like something to obscure your scent, something to obscure your sound, and then you need to like sneak up on it through the tall grass. And in traditional Pokemon games, the tall grass are where Pokemon ambush you. And so having a Pokemon game where you're the terrifying monster in the tall grass after like 25 years of the opposite is so satisfying. And so you could like roll some food like, into its path. It goes over there. It's like, ooh, food. You just come up behind it and hit it. There's a like extra heavy Pokeball made out of lead or something, where if you hit a Pokemon at like the base of the skull in the back of the neck with it, it's like an instant capture. But it's a lot of work to get there. It's like, in real life, this would actually sever the brainstem. Like...
Yeah, no, I did, like it does make you feel like you are a kind of god amongst the animals. When you can creep up on an animal and then just like, you're man now. Which is why I do it whenever I can. I mean, to be fair though, in my raft game, I did manage to stab a shark in the skull.
Okay, I thought you were gonna say a squirrel in the skull because you started by saying "ska" for skull, I guess, but like.
Yeah.
Like
stabbing a shark in the squirrel. Yep, that's what it did.
yeah. If you hit Pokemon with a concussion Pokeball, they're too disoriented to break out, according to Zero. So, yeah, that's
When
probably
did
right.
Pokemon get dark? I mean, arguably, it's always been dark with the animal fights.
Yeah.
Um, Pokemon LA made you feel like a pro Pokemon. Yeah. I mean, to be fair, the ethics of the Long Dark are questionable because you are going through everyone's houses and stealing all their crap.
Well, but okay, but like if it is an abandoned human settlement
True.
and you're just like you're retrieving 10-year-old canned goods, it's not like year 11 is going to do those beans a lot of favors, right? Like I feel like that's just ecologically sound living. Hey, Dead Flip. Yeah, I'm looking at text design for different space themed pinball back glasses. Because I'm working on a design for my Minecraft pinball machine, which is going to be called Deep Field. I haven't worked out what that'll actually look like. Let me switch my. If I switch over here, though, I have a really rough, like, mock up that I threw together in 10 minutes of, like, what this might look like. Just taking two different images from the James Webb Space Telescope and throwing them together with a random font. But for the actual Minecraft pinball machine that I'm building, I want to, actually have the typography be informed by both pinball history and like science fiction stuff and NASA stuff. So I'm kind of, but there's been so many crazy pinball machines over the years. So I started with Apollo 13. I did Starship, Black Hole, Cosmos, Orbiter 1. I'm just going through a bunch of stuff in IPDB at the moment for today's arts and crafts stream. So yeah, that's what I am up to. Let's see, Outer Space is one. A lot of these just kind of have generic block lettering, like comic book lettering, which is fine, but I don't know how much I benefit from studying it.
Yeah, Pokemon are like there are no, as far as I can tell, there are no animals but Pokemon in the Pokemon universe.
Yeah. Okay.
Unless everyone's a vegetarian.
Williams had a Skylab. I'm sure that there's like animal byproducts and stuff. Like they wear leather jackets, right? In Pokemon. Like I'm pretty sure. So there's a Skylab pinball machine apparently.
Oh dear God, what was that? J. Kells gifting 10 community gift subs. Thank you very, very much indeed. You're a superstar.
Whoops, that's too many. 100.
You heard around. We're having a Pikachu for dinner.
I'm pretty sure that some of the Pokedex entries refer to like the eggs of this Pokemon are a delicacy in some areas or something like that. Like.
Pretty dark. It's pretty dark.
Somebody asked about what one of the space fonts I've used on other projects. Yeah, I have a bunch of fonts that I've bought from Blambot in the past, and I'm probably going to look at those closely for this. But what the intention of this exercise is to look at the stuff I don't have. Right, I'm looking at pinball history and different machines and stuff like that. So then it might be that I end up using one of the Blambot fonts that's close to one of these and tweaking it. It might be that I end up hand drawing the letters. I'm gonna, but like I literally I am not a novice about typography. Like this is not part of the project that's intimidating to me. Like. Yeah, I don't need to go to DaFonts for free font ideas. I can, like, I'm looking at what choices artists have made during like the apogee of the Apollo era and beyond. I don't just need to Google space font, right?
All coming up. Franklin has subscribed. Welcome to the Horde. If you look to your left and to your right, you'll see there are no exits.
Yeah. So if we go back and we look at like the way I'm envisioning doing this with the word deep field, with the actual deep field photo in front of a brighter background photo. Right now I've got the Carina Nebula as the brighter background photo, but by the time I actually make this in game, the
Oh,
by the time I actually make this in game, we might have other cool photos to draw from. So I'm not committing to this background image. But like I like having a font that's very heavy and bold, because that will show more of the actual deep field photo in front of the bright background photo. So like the Apollo 13 letters that we have here are very thin. They're not going to work for that the same way as like you see the way Starship looks. But the thing is, this Starship is almost too sci-fi for a NASA mission, you know? So like then we look at like the Skylab over, which way is the over here, right? So this Skylab is closer to being based on NASA fonts. Now, like when I've done graphic design based on NASA's actual current typography rules, like when Sandy Magnuson visited, they had very specific rules about like the typography must be one of these approved fonts. You must, if you use a gray, or if you use the NASA logo, it must be on white, black, or this particular gray. Maybe there were two grays, right? So like making this banner in compliance with NASA requirements was an interesting challenge. But those requirements are not in play here, right? So that this was because we were actually working with NASA to bring an astronaut on site, and so promoting the event, we had to follow their rules. But they didn't have any rule about putting the astronaut's name upside down, so I did that.
of course you did. I've got some things to do. All coming up, Franklin has subscribed. Welcome to the Horde. If you look to your left and to your right, I'm very sorry, there are no exits. Paleo cheered biddies, Bakura cheered biddies, and Tales of Emily's resubscribed for 5 months, saying 5 months of my favourite Wednesday morning background noise. Thank you very much. We live but to serve. That's not true.
Yeah. I want to pull up the real Skylab mission patch, because there's some interesting choices in this back glass here. And I'm curious to see how much of that.
Hey, Blue.
Skylab program mission patches. That goes to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Skylab program mission patches. Yeah. So the actual mission patches don't look anything like this, but the way the logo, it's not really a logo, but the way the text treatment on Skylab is here does look like it was used in something else NASA did, but I can't tell if that's an official patch or what that's from. There's a program patch. Skylab program patch. Is that official or is that made up? This patch was produced by NASA's official patch manufacturer, AB Emblem, but was it actually commissioned by NASA, or was it? So if you look at this patch here, that's got the text in roughly the same way as it was on the pinball machine there. The font is a lot thinner, but like, is that because like there's lots of ways you can, or reasons to make choices like that. Let's go ahead and crop that as well. So I don't think this was an official patch is the thing. But
No?
well, or like like I said, I don't know that programs get patches the way missions do, right?
Right.
So
Yes.
it's like this is like something cool that they made, but I don't think that this
Hmm.
is something that like anybody like earned the right to wear in the same way that like if
Right.
you are part of a mission, you would
Hmm.
earn, But like I mean, and they sell the patches to anybody who wants them as commemorative pieces. But
Right.
I'm seeing a lot of stuff though with the Skylab text treatment done. Oh, yep, yep. There's a program commemoration.
Hmm.
Ba, 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 ba. Yeah, I think some of these were cash grabs, but they do have the same text treatment. So there's clearly something to it. Having the word lab below the word sky is a
Yeah.
recurring design choice here. Let's add crop and pad there. Yeah, I mean, Skylab is one of those things that, like, I was, like, too young to really
Hmm.
engage with. I don't
Yeah.
know.
Uh,
Was
It's
it
a
a big deal when you were
fair
a kid,
thing.
Cleo?
Not really. I don't think it was particularly a big deal at all,
Yeah.
you know. Astronomy is fun. It's a very slow and sedate kind of fun, but still fun. I remember Skylab coming down. I do remember, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So for people who do actual graphic design, this is the equivalent of somebody who doesn't do graphic design loading up Google and saying space fonts. You actually go in and you research design decisions made by other people with
Hmm.
similar in similar spaces or similar regards, right? Like
Hmm.
if you're going to design a cereal box with and like a logo and stuff for something that has berries in it, you're gonna go and you're gonna look at what do other berry cereals do, because not because you want to copy them, but because you want to do better. And you don't want to accidentally spend 25 days reinventing. Oh, whoops, that was actually a cereal box from the 20s, and I just did the same thing. Or even worse, that's a cereal box that's super popular in Canada. And I've never seen it because I don't go to Canada much, but we're selling this new cereal in Canada, and we're going to immediately have every Canadian go, wow, I can't believe they copied those other guys, right?
Yeah. The problem. It is a problem.
So, okay.
Got a minor in astronomy. Some of the things that one calls slow and sedate, the way we find out about those things is pretty slow and sedate.
Okay.
Hmm.
Oh, Skylab had a shower. That was one of the experimental features.
That must have been weird in zero G.
Yeah, it looks like a
It was
tent.
micro G, wasn't it?
Yeah. It's basically zero G though. I mean,
Yeah, effectively.
um so okay, the official emblem. Okay. So the official emblem does have Skylab in that very similar way.
Hmm.
Okay. And that's that. So the patches are an interpretation of that in different. They're different artists' reinterpretations of this official emblem.
Right.
So it looks like Williams either tried to get cool with it or got lazy with it. And honestly, I don't think the Williams version looks better than the one on the actual patch.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm just looking at all the space talk in my chat, and I'm just like, Don't understand.
Yeah.
Or rather, I did if I had the time to look it up, but I don't. I'm making animal feet prints on my journal.
Oh, are you sure they're not animal hoof prints?
Well, those are hoof prints.
Yeah, I mean they look like hoof prints to me.
I mean, but these are feet. I'm very hard to keep really awkward stickers on a line. They're too small.
Is this just Helvetica? This might just be Helvetica.
If in doubt, Helvetica.
Yeah.
Put an ink pad down and leaves Atlas unsupervised. No, that's a great way to use your security deposit.
Yeah, I think Williams just didn't want to pay for Helvetica. I think that's what it was. Okay. Yeah.
Sometimes you know where your priorities lie.
Yeah, Loopy says NASA does use Helvetica as a design standard, adopted in the mid-70s. Yeah. It's the font on the side of the space shuttles for their names. Makes sense. Excuse me. Yeah. Okay, well, I don't know how much time I need to spend studying Williams's decision
Helvetica.
to not pay for Helvetica, but this has been we're still making research progress here. Okay, so somebody recommended we look at Space Mission, the pinball machine next. So let me pull up Space Mission by Williams. Backglass. Okay, so we're gonna get rid of these Skylab things here. Remove these 4 layers. I'm not sure that, like... Yeah. I mean, I'm looking at this and it's not really capturing my imagination. It is technically blocky, and it doesn't look bad, but I don't feel like it fits with what I'm looking at.
With what you're necessarily doing.
Yeah, so like I'll pull that up real quick. So you see it looks... I like it's got the flat sides on the letters, which gives you a lot less space between them. But it's not really like calling to me. Like these other ones have unique things about them that felt like worth exploring by copying them.
Yeah.
And like that's part of the research process here too, is that you are going to hit like diminishing returns. You're not going to spend 1,000 hours on this, right? You're going to look for you're going to kind of look at a bunch of stuff. You're going to study the stuff that's more interesting in more depth, but
you don't need to spend a lot of time in the stuff. Just like, unless you're a student, you don't need to spend time on the stuff that you don't like. So
Yeah, you can kind of tell what's closer and what's further away,
yeah.
right? Back glass for World Defender. Okay, that's like an 80s sci-fi thing that's like way this is like the Duke Nukem of pinball machines. Look at this. We're not gonna extensively study this one either.
No,
Like
that's just Duke Nukem
yeah,
or Terminator.
that's Terminator, Duke Nukem, um the uh apparently I changed my
The student trying to pick fonts for a project. This is very relatable. Yeah, arguably, once you're a student and you're in design, you can make choices and go, oh, I didn't choose this one because this, and this, and you don't really have to study it to explain why.
yeah. Well, and that's the thing too though is like I wanted to make sure like I said two things. One, I want to look at like I have a good idea of what I want, but I need to make sure that there's not a good reason to consider something else, right? So even
Right.
though I have a pretty good idea of what I want, I need to look at other things that other choices people made given similar design parameters. Two, I need to make sure that what I want isn't just something I saw at an arcade somewhere and it's like, Joe, you are exactly copying the space shuttle pinball machine, right? Like, which if I'm way too close to something like that, I can make it an homage and I can tweak my thing a little bit around it,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But like this is the actual space shuttle pinball machine, which I am not way too close on, so it's fine.
No.
But like I need to look at these things and at least be like, oh wait, is that wrong? Is that the so
Yeah.
so I'm just going
Absolutely.
through. I'm looking at about I looked at about three half dozens of these. I looked at about 18, 20 of these, I guess, and I've actually like hand copied elements of 5 of them just to wrap my head around them better. Oh, space station. Did I do space station yet? Let me throw
I don't
space.
remember you saying it.
Yeah, space station is another one that it's like it's got very thick block letters.
Oh, that's good. I like that one.
Yeah, let me see if there's a better picture in here of that because the backglass photos usually they have like a lit and an unlit version.
Hmm.
Cabinet. Oh boy, a lot of these photos are super low resolution because like this pinball international pinball database website has been running since like the 90s, and so like a lot of the photos are like I just got a
From the
digital
90s.
camera in 1998. Let me show you my pinball machine. It's like so they're like 800 pixel wide photos. Wait, hold on. This one's actually slightly higher resolution. Yeah. So we can just crop that down. So this one is different enough from the other ones I've done, but also similar enough to what I'm looking for that I think this one is worth me studying and more.
Yeah.
Space station. But yeah, also like actually let me just look at the viewer list here real quick. Okay. Yeah, one of the people who came in earlier actually is a professional pinball machine designer.
Yeah, maybe listen to them.
Well, no, I mean he didn't he just said, "Oh, this is cool." Like, but like it's helpful. It makes me feel like I'm not completely an idiot for spending time on this when it's like, oh, people who work for like Stern are popping into the chat seeing what I'm doing. right?
Right.
Like, yeah, so here's Space Station. Pinball Rendezvous. Yeah, so, oh, yeah, Cleo. Most pinball machines had, like, a terrible flyer that they would send to arcades to try to sell them the machine, right? And, let me see if, let me see if I can find the one for this one. A Rendezvous with Pinball Destiny.
Oh no.
Right, is the one for Space Station.
Right.
So for my deep field pinball machine,
Mm-hmm.
plunge into the darkness and capture ancient light.
Oh God.
It's just terrible enough to be plausible.
I mean, it is pretty terrible.
Thank you.
Kind of bad.
I know.
Uh.
Bum bum bum.
All right, guys, take the D&D stuff to DMs, please.
And take any extra cash you have to paypal.me/JoeHills or YouTube Super Chat. We're currently at 8 degrees of rotation and almost 2 hours into the stream. So as much as I love making $4 an hour, anybody who wants to chip in, it's appreciated. Okay.
I don't mind talking about D&D in general, but when you get into specifics of campaigns and stuff, it's a bit much for people who are not.
It kind of takes too much air out of the room.
Yeah. Because, I mean, I talk about my own D&D campaigns, and it's nice to reminisce with your friends who've played it with you. But when you're sort of like, and then we kidnap the princess, and it's like, oh, yeah, I see how that sounds. Yeah.
Chloe the Great and Powerful.
If it was a one-on-one conversation, that's great.
Chloe the Great and Powerful tips 7 and says, nice transition. Thank you. I felt like it was particularly
Chloe's very good at that. Definitely needed tipping for that, not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's gonna increase our rotation to 15 degrees. I'm gonna be honest, when you hurt your toe, if I was thinking to myself, Cleo should say something like tip and make it better instead of kiss it and make it better. But like, you were in pain and that felt rude to point out at the time. Now that you seem to have recovered,
you're absolutely welcome to use my pain as an advantage.
Well, the thing is, though, but I wasn't the one who actually hurt his toe. Like, if you hurting your toe is like that's your opportunity, not mine.
I mean,
cashing
Joe,
in on the
I'm
suffering
happy
of
for you to
others
make
is really
my
not where I
pain
want
about you needing money. You are welcome.
Laura tips 6 and says, hey, Joe, does this cover another hour? Well, I don't know how long Cleo wants to do this for, so I'm not going to promise that, but it definitely helps with the 2 hours we already did. That's going to bring us up to 21 degrees of rotation. But yeah, let's see.
It's like, streaming is a weird thing.
Yay, I love weird things.
I mean, we're both weird things. That's fine.
Yay. Weird Things, a book on streaming by Joe Hills and ZombieCleo.
That's what friends are for, profiting from their pain. Your pain is my revenue opportunity. I don't mind, so long as I haven't, like, broken a leg or am bleeding profusely. Like, profit off my pain, I'm fine with it.
Yeah. No, I appreciate that, Cleo. That's very generous of you. You're very generous with your suffering.
Yeah, always.
You know, honestly, that seems like the sort of like Latin thing that would go on a family crest in a horror movie. Generosity and suffering.
Oh God.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, you're not wrong. Yeah.
Somebody says I'm just watching something weird. Yeah, we're always doing something weird here.
I mean, it's what people come for.
Yeah.
If you're not here for the weird, then why are you here? The silence is deafening. This is a good point. It's a good point. Oh dear. Okay, that was a silly little. I like this one. It's a silly little thing, but
the I might be 15 seconds behind on whatever you're. The
oh
tape
no, it's just
the
in
overall
general,
layout.
like the whole thing. It's like the little footprints. It was like that was a good choice. I enjoyed that. It's silly, but I like it.
Yay! Hey, thank you to Calvin for another 8, who says more rotation. Well, here we go. That's going to bring us up to 29 degrees angular. Thank you very much, Calvin, for supporting the arts and my show in particular.
This is what we're here for. We're here to support Joe's arts, and my arts technically too, but mostly Joe's typography lessons.
Well, I mean, it's not really a lesson. I mean, I'm not like actively coaching people on this stuff, really. Like,
I mean, it feels very lessonal.
lessonal?
Lessonal. I don't care, Joe. You
Cleo does not care. That is 100% accurate.
true, but wow. It's also hot here again.
Oh no.
I know. Dang heat. I found another birdie. Starting Halloween theme for October now. It's the 18th of September in my journal at the moment.
Cleo. Can I pitch you on a Hermitcraft concept for October?
You can.
You sound super hesitant. Like,
I'm yeah, sure.
okay. So back in season 1, one of the things I used to do is I would seasonally update the entire spawn village. So in spring, I would plant a bunch of flowers. In fall, I would put like wool carpet everywhere, like in like leaf colors, and I would take all the leaves off the trees and turn them into like wool trees, like orange and red and yellow tree.
Right.
Like I'd replace all the leaves with orange and red and yellow wool. Okay. And then in winter, I put snow everywhere and take the leaves off the trees entirely. And then spring, once again, remove all the snow, put leaves back on the trees, put flowers out, right? And I haven't been doing that lately.
No.
'Cause that was kind of one of those things like, okay, that was cool in season 1, but we didn't, like, as later on, we didn't really have as much of a spawn village. It didn't make as much sense, right?
Right.
But here's what I'm thinking is for Halloween, I was like, how can I want to really make my haunted house feel more autumnal when September and October roll around. So I think I'm gonna pull all the leaves out from underneath the lichen and replace them not only with the wool like I would have done back in season 1, but with a bunch of the new colorful blocks that are in the same color space, like yellow coral, red coral, because you can waterlog stuff behind them, concrete powder, which you can't get wet, some of the terracotta, but then I would use lichen over all of them to kind of unify the block palette. So I would remove all the lichen, put in the new blocks, put the lichen back over it to pull it together.
Right.
How do you feel about this?
Like if it's done right, it could be nice.
Okay. What would your concerns be about doing it right? How would I screw this up?
Is this just your building?
Well, I was going to.
That's the question.
I was going to definitely do my building, like around my haunted house. But you know, I did enjoy when I used to do this for the whole server. Or the whole
that's
spawn.
where I thought it was going.
So I guess my question is, would you want me to also autumnify anything in your like Atlantis build?
The thing about Atlantis is
it only exists 1 month a year.
It's kind of underwater, and it's kind of gonna have a lot of coral in it already. Mm-hmm. So all the plant stuff is gonna be like it's gonna have coral on it. So, The only thing you could change out would be the leaves, really?
There are going to be like leaves and above the surface plants then.
Yeah, but most of them are going to be waterlogged, so I can put the coral down.
Okay. So this might be something I just more do myself.
You might have to do it. I mean, I appreciate the thought, but I told you at the beginning I spent 6 hours last night working on my build.
Well,
right?
Yeah, but like that doesn't mean that the build can't like take a break and get decorated for Halloween.
I have no problem decorating for Halloween. I just don't. I'm just like I literally just got it. I've just got it perfect.
Yeah. Well, and
it's like and the thought of like changing it like a month or two afterwards, fills me with this existential dread.
Okay, well that's what you want for Halloween. Backyard Play tips 50 Philippine pesos, which comes out to 1 US Abacus bead.
I walked into that.
And says, ZombieCleo, is there an update on your mega project? Great timing, Backyard Plays. Normally I wouldn't badger Cleo about something, but she's already volunteering information on the subject. And then we also got another 5 from Sierra, who says, for Joe Hills, my favorite crocheting background noise. So another 5 degrees.
I don't know why they asked you about my.
No, normally I'd be like, I'm not going to bother Cleo about this, but we're already on the topic, and so that worked out fine. But
yeah, no, I've been working on it, and considering I mentioned it on stream and showed where I was doing the things have happened. Yeah. So,
well, I got some.
Like
more
I say, I spent 6 hours on it yesterday.
Emily tips 25, who says, thank you for the other half of my favorite Wednesday morning background noise.
My wrist hurt.
Thank you, Emily. It's going to bring us up to 60 degrees of rotation here.
I was going to show people my Halloween stuff that I got, because people were asking me about it.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's like, why not? So obviously, we've got to put the Scary Marys out.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I see they're not Scary Berries, but they are based on a horror game where I Shifty Pumpkin gifted 5 community gift subs. Thank you very much. And Mini Cheese Mouse, thank you for those 5 biddies.
Well, you know what? I was going to interrupt you to say that Shifty Pumpkin sent me $25 and yelled spinning for dollars, but it seemed off topic until now. Thank you for supporting both of our shows. That's going to bring us up to 85 degrees rotation. Appreciate you supporting the arts and our work, in particular, Shifty Pumpkins.
So I have 100 Marys. I will be doing a page on my book that's basically filled with Marys, based on the fact of the corpse part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
I've also got my Halloween washi tapes. They came in. So I've got one with little skulls on it in a pattern, which you can't really see. Can I make that?
Maybe. Christine just came in with another 11. Thank you, Christine. That's going to bring us up to 96 degrees angular. I'm now, like, clearly sticking out the side of the wall here. So, thank you. That is very appreciated. Tips are welcome via paypal.me/JoeHilson.
One with eyes that reminds me of Trapdoor, if you've ever seen that claymation show. No? Okay. Well, there's a claymation show that's got Trapdoor, and it goes... and inside the trapdoor is bunches of eyes. You thought it was more butts. I have no butts in my journal. It's fine. And then I got spider's webs in gold for some reason. Then I've got I don't like moths and butterflies near me. So I feel very validated, but this is
a
covered.
Halloween butterfly.
This is it's a Halloween, and there's lots of butterflies on this one.
Well, Dollywood butterflies are like one of their motifs, and so if you ever go to Dollywood in October, there's a lot of Halloween butterfly stuff there, Cleo. You'd be terrified.
Oh. I like butterflies. I like them out there, and not near me.
Yeah, go pollinate something.
Go pollinate something. I will watch you, and I will go, oh, that's so pretty. The second you get near my face, I will scream.
In fairness, she does this to everyone. This is not... Butterflies don't feel bad.
Butterflies should feel bad getting in my face. Moths particularly are bad for it. But this one has lots of... This is a black and red one that's got like jack-o'-lanterns and boots and pumpkin faces and castles and brooms and like all sorts of Halloween imagery. I like that one. I might cut this into little squares and do a thing with it. Mm-hmm. And then there's this nice red one which has got lots and lots of gravestones on it. And the word Hal... And then with the O, it's the spiderweb. Ween. So it's Halloween. So, yeah. And then I got stickers as well. So I'm actually looking forward to doing the October spread now. Not that I wasn't before. It's fine. The stickers are pumpkins and skulls and flowers for some reason and leaves for some reason and like animal skulls and vampire blood lips and...
Animal skulls aren't really Halloween. They're Texas themed. Also, thank you, Back Your Play, for another 3 U.S. Abacus beads worth of Philippine pesos, who says, Joe Hills is your Mega Project Pinball. It will have to be a redstone machine for the light patterns. Yeah, I'm still workshopping how some of that's going to go. But you're not wrong. That is being considered. That brings us up to 99 degrees angular.
I didn't know what this sticker was, but apparently it's a piece of wood with an axe on it and flowers and covered in blood. So...
Oh, no. Okay, that's like... It's not just a piece of wood. That's like a bloody stump. The joke is that it's a stump of a tree with blood on it and an axe in it. Like, traditionally, a bloody stump would be like the aftermath of a amputation.
Yes. I was there.
Halloween puns. Woo!
And then more jack-o'-lanterns and more animal skulls. A cannonball with vampire lips and arrows and a witch's hat. I don't get it particularly either. Mm-hmm. An axe. Another flower. A bottle of poison. Another pumpkin with a witch's hat on it. A gourd. Ooh. Well, that one was a spider's web. I'll pick that up in a minute. A white rose. Another pumpkin with a witch's hat on it. Another... Oh, that's a moon with a witch's hat. And somebody shot the moon, I think.
Cleo, that's no moon. It's a space station.
You're correct. Ghosties, spiderps... batter things.
Also, the cannonball might be a cauldron.
No, maybe. That's definitely the moon, though. It's the same thing, but they've just changed the things that they've decided to add on to it. Witch's hat, skull, and then again, the same moon thing with even more things added onto it. Are you the kind of person to be able to just stick a sticker in a place? Well, pretty much. Skull. Another bloody stump, but this time without the flowers. And a necklace. I think. Of a horn. Of tooth of an animal, maybe. And there's the spider webs. I mean, if you ask if I'm the person to just stick a sticker anywhere, I mean... I stick them in specific places and then they're done. Da-da-da-da. You have stickers stave up when... That's why you get a journal. Get a bullet journal, then you know where to put your stickers.
Yeah, I never know what to do with stickers. Like, I just give them to my kid usually, and I tell her to put them on her notebooks. Which is fine, which is fair. I guess.
But don't you have your own notebooks?
Oh... Yeah, but I usually write in them. I don't like seeding the page space. Like,
but that's
I guess I could put a sticker like right here. I literally have a pad right here. I could put a sticker on, right? I don't know if I don't know if I have any stickers handy.
Oh, like, if I'd thought about
I've got like everything else handy. Let's see what I got here. I got a Minecraft torch. I'd send you a
copy of the stickers though. I go, here, have one of mine, and then we could have done that joke.
Got an eyeglass screwdriver. Like, it's fine.
Sorry.
Hey, NJ, glad you had a good interaction with your CEO. That is always good.
That joke takes too much preparation. Yes, but it is the kind of joke that both of us would do. Thank you. I always sneeze multiple times. I'm very sorry.
Somebody says, is that torch to scale? I guess I can hold it up next to me here. Woo. Yeah.
I mean, to be fair, the torches in Minecraft are just under 1 meter tall, so...
Yeah, it's, let's see. So I've got a measuring thing here. So we could actually see the scale. It is... So 7 inches gets you to there, and then, so it's almost a foot tall. I got this from Mojang in one of their gift boxes.
I mean, is it to scale to the torches in Minecraft? Yes.
I mean, proportionally.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's 1-to-1, but it's proportionally to scale. Okay.
Ooh. Sorry.
No,
Brain.
it's fine.
Brain going fuzzy. But that's okay.
One thing that's surprising to me is I was expecting more of these pinball machines to have italic titles, like, because like something that feels like it moves forward, right?
Yes.
You know, like,
yeah.
Let me check pinball. Maybe, for example, the Getaway 2. Would that have high speed? The Getaway 2. Does that have a italic title on it? Yeah. So that one's about driving a fast car, and the thing's in italics. And so, like, I was thinking, you know, but space telescopes don't really move super fast or anything, right? Like,
right.
That's not. But I was kind of thinking that it would be cool to have the text in italic, but like, maybe it's not necessary. Yeah, the A's in Space Station are moving up and pointing toward the center. Yeah. Yeah, Cosmic Pinball. Here's another one that's like just kind of more of a generic computery font from the era. That's a terrible picture. Let me see if I can find a better one. Oh, nope. The best picture of Cosmic Pinball is 274 pixels. What?
I'm not made of money, unfortunately. I would definitely harvest me if I was made of money. Don't harvest yourself. Leave that for organ people to do.
Yeah.
I mean, it's their job.
Properties. No, we want crop. Crop.
Properties.
Yay.
Sorry, that was bad even for me.
No, the thing is, Cleo, the funny thing is, I thought about saying that, and I was like, I'm gonna find out that that's some sort of bad slang in England somehow. I was like, like, Joe, a cropper is really not a thing that you want to mention in British company. Like, so I was like, nope, this is how I get in trouble. I actively chose
make up words.
I chose not to say properties because I was like, nope, that's going to be a thing. That's some sort of really bad slang there that I don't know, and
well, I'm glad I could set your mind at ease and let you know you can use properties next time you make that jokes.
Thank you. I feel so much better. Oh boy.
Oh dear. Anytime Cleo can tell Joe anything is appropriate in US slang. That is a thing I can do. That is a thing I can do. I can tell Joe just lies, and Joe would, most of the time believe me.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would usually go check them with a second British person later, but during our conversation, I wouldn't challenge it necessarily.
I can just go, oh, Joe, oh, you shouldn't have said that. That's not great.
Yeah.
I think less of you now for saying properties.
But you see how that sounds like the sort of thing. It's like, okay, no, that's the poor Scottish who would come down into York were called croppers, and it was used derisively by the police during these riots, and it's a whole thing, and like, you really don't
Yeah,
want to
you
say that.
just you've got to be more sensitive, Joe. You got to think more. I'm not entirely sure how that's
Oh,
possible with
oh,
you,
I
but
saw a new British television series recently.
oh, yeah.
Um, you apparently it was on the air a while ago. It's called Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Have you?
I've never heard of this.
Okay, so the premise is that it was actually made in like the 2000s, but the premise is that at some point in the 1980s, BBC Four commissioned this science fiction author to make a like horror drama TV series for them, but it was too ahead of its time, right?
Right.
And so now, in the greatest drought of creativity in television history in 1995, which, once again, this was not made in 1995. This was made like 10 years after 95. They've got the cast and the original author together, and they're showing the episodes with added interviews and discussion and things like that, bookending it.
Right.
So it's a weird period piece. It's got Matt Berry as dark. So it's this horror sci-fi. No, I guess it's not sci-fi. It's a horror comedy series set in Dark Place Hospital, and all of the plots and everything are just absolutely terrible. And like all the camera work and audio, like they redub everything, and it's like it's all intentionally bad.
right.
But yeah, it's very very out there. And it's frustrating though because I'm looking at some of the stuff they're doing in the show where the joke is, look at how little money we had to do this, right? It's supposed to look
Right.
cheap, and I'm like, I couldn't afford to shoot that today
Yeah.
with what I've got. I'm like, oh wow, like there's like a lot of stuff where like the joke is that the green screen work is really bad. And I do green screen work that's really bad all the time, but I'm like looking at it and I'm like, the distance between the human and the green screen and the camera is too big for the room I'm in. Um and like I'm like, there's no way I could shoot this bad green screen thing the way that they shot it, and that's like, one day,
My green screen would be too bad. For
one
what
day
their
I'll
bad
have
green
a
screen is.
bigger studio or a proper workshop and like all this stuff and be able to really, you know, I'll be able to make things look as terrible as they did back in the early 2000s when they were mocking the 1980s by way of the 1990s. Like,
Oh,
but yeah,
sad.
Matt Berry's in it and he's hilarious and everything.
yeah.
So, but then Richard Ayoade, I think is how you pronounce it. Ayoade
AOD.
is in it.
Oh, that automatically means it's good.
Yeah, so he plays the producer of the show, who is also cast as the hospital administrator. You know, who's just like, I got sick people coming in here, and I can't have demons running the ward. So you get those demon heads on my desk, or I'm gonna have your stethoscopes. And like they're constantly mixing in like cop tropes and stuff like that. But like the opening credit sequence is amazing. It's got like the main guy like holding what's clearly a baby doll and jumping away from an exploding ambulance, like
It's a little bit ludicrous, but I love it.
oh
Kinda.
no, it's the whole show is so stupid.
Yeah.
But yeah, let me see if I can figure out how to I don't, spelling Garth Marenghi. Garth Marenghi's Dark Place. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna put the name of it in your chat. I'm not gonna link to it because, like, yeah. But it was on the BBC.
Yeah.
So you probably could get it through iPlayer or whatever.
Oh, I would imagine so. I would imagine so.
Um,
I've got time for it. I'll take a look.
but yeah, it's on in America. It's on NBC's Peacock Plus, which I bought to
Sounds
watch
like a
this.
euphemism.
Yeah, well, I really want to spend like 4 hours just making the most incredibly scorching video eviscerating this service. The only reason I got this service was because this is how you watch this show in America.
Huh.
And it's like for $10 a month you don't have to look at ads. And I'm like, okay, well, because of my like stomach stuff, I hate seeing ads for food at night when it's too late for me to eat because I'll get sick.
Mm-hmm.
And like it just really stresses me out to be reminded that like, oh, I'm starving but I shouldn't have anything. And so I'm
Yeah,
like, fine,
it's
I'll
on all
pay it.
four.
But the thing is,
It wasn't on the BBC. It was on Channel 4.
isn't Channel 4 the BBC?
No, there is a BBC 4.
I thought it was on
But-
BBC 4.
No, it was on Channel 4, not BBC 4.
God, I don't know.
Spangly has resubscribed for 30 minutes. Didn't realise it was that long. Me neither. Thank you very much.
So anyway,
Anyway,
what they do is they replace all the commercials for restaurants with commercials for other shows on Peacock Plus. So they're like, aren't you glad you paid $10 to see the same Love Island commercial every 4 minutes? And I'm like, no.
that sounds like BBC.
I am so...
No. Channel 4.
Mr. Land says, looking the show up now. It has so many good actors in it. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah, it's fantastic, Joe seems to say through gritted teeth.
No, no, wait. Ugh. I'm like, my brain is messed up.
It's okay, Joe.
Yeah.
It's okay. We get it. I went into a great deal of information about the formation of Channel 4 the other day, it being an alternative to BBC, but still publicly and privately funded.
Okay, no, I thought...
I'm assuming this is to Joe Badger.
No, yeah. No, but okay, the way I understood it, like, I listened to all of that, and everything that you just mentioned, I understood. When you said alternative to the BBC, I thought you meant an alternative to BBC One, right? Like, because I was under the impression that there was more than, like, at one point BBC said we should have more than one BBC television channel to do weirder experimental stuff. So I thought that this was a combination of, like, an offshoot of the BBC with a combination of private funding. Because you said it was publicly and privately funded. So I got 90% of this. I just didn't understand that the public funding was separate from being part of the BBC still somehow.
Yeah. Just wait until Joe finds out that ITV2+1 is not the same thing as ITV3.
Okay, by the commutative property, that should also be the same as ITV1+2. But you're going to tell me it's not, and that's going to be it.
Not. Okay, so ITV2+1 is basically a delayed version of ITV2. It's plus 1 hour.
They're like,
So
hey,
everything-
you just get off work and you want to see what happened an hour ago?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
We have like loads of channels, like all the Sky channels. Like you have UK Gold, which is like the old UK TV, and then you have UK Gold +1, and you have Dave, and you have Dave +1, which has a cool name which I've forgotten.
Why do people want this? I don't.
What is the pun for the Dave channel? I've forgotten it. Dave Javu. There you go.
Dave Javu.
Dave Javu. The fact that we like my other half was very upset that we have a TV channel called Dave.
I mean,
He was just like, that's not the name of a channel.
well, but like, here's the thing though, is like, David Seville was one of the single most influential musicians and artists of his time. The work he did speeding up his own voice to sound like several distinct characters on his Chipmunks albums, which later spun off into television shows, movies. If anybody in the arts deserves a channel, it's Dave Seville.
I'm gonna be honest, not who that channel was named after, but okay.
No?
No.
Who was it named after?
It wasn't actually named after anyone. It was just named Dave because it's full of the stuff a person called Dave would like. It's full of Top Gear. It's full of old British comedy shows. It's that sort of show. Dave Down the Pub. That's who it was named after. Dave was meant to be like your mate Dave. Yeah, your mate Dave, who finds this stuff funny. Because he hasn't matured in his temperament in 7 years. It's all the stuff Dave liked when Dave was a kid.
Dan claims it was named after David Lister from Red Dwarf.
I don't think it was. They do show Red Dwarf on it, and they now own the rights to it, but it wasn't named like that.
This is
Top
like
Gear, Red Dwarf,
that's
and the
like
rubbish
how in
show.
America we have
Yeah.
Spike TV, which is stuff that Spike would watch on TV to bother Giles.
Got that reference. Dave is too woke these days because they show normal lefty comedian stuff. What, you mean like every comedian in the UK? Pretty much. I don't know what to say. I've my brain has stopped. I'm just talking now. Just so you know.
That's okay.
Um,
Washi says Spike from Buffy. No.
that was the reference you made, though.
You might think that, but I couldn't possibly comment.
You made a Spike and Giles joke. Come on. Who's kidding who here? Somebody who watched Buffy when it was coming out every bloody week? You're thinking Spike from Buzz Bunny. Dave Lister was named Dave for the same reason as the channel, to be the oik down the pub. Yeah. And just happened to be the last person in the universe.
Mm.
Have you ever watched Red Dwarf?
No.
Okay. I don't know how to explain Red Dwarf.
I've heard it's a funny science fiction show, but as far as I know, it's never been like commonly available here. So,
I mean, I can explain the premise and still not do it justice.
well, I've had the premise explained to me. I just haven't seen it. Like, it's not the sort of thing that's just on.
Oh, T-Rose, no, that's the worst season. It's the worst season. Aside from season 9, which doesn't exist. Season 10 was great, though. Just watched Red Dwarf season 2, episode 2. My favourite one is the Despair Squid. I mean, I think that's everybody's favourite one. It's either that or... Thing about Red Dwarf is you don't realise you're watching hard sci-fi concepts. That's true. That's true. They managed to hide the time travel and stuff behind just stupid jokes. Oh yeah, yeah. The quantum leap stuff was great.
Oh, okay. One thing I will say about Garth Marenghi's Dark Place that got me invested immediately was that when they're introducing the first episode, like, you know, how they're pulling this out of the vaults or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, if the network hadn't gotten scared, you know, we knew we had something here. And Richard Ayoade's like, Richard Ayoade's character plays the producer, and he's like, I said to Garth, this is the next Quantum Leap. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, anybody who's convinced they're making the next Quantum Leap
just isn't. Just isn't.
Like, you're not gonna do it. You're not gonna do
No.
it. That's like me coming in, like, you know, when we're all brainstorming, you know, at the Herbert for the 5 minutes of the Hermitcraft meeting that's actually about making videos. You know, if I come in and I'm like, guys, I think I've got the next King Lear for episode 23. It's gonna blow you all away. Seriously. I'm not saying it's a sequel to King Lear, but, like, it's the next King Lear. Like, it is. There's no way that anything I'm making is the next King Lear. It's not gonna happen.
No. Like, there are iconic Red Dwarf moments. There's the backwards episode. There's the Mr. Flibble episode. There's the despair squid. There's demons and angels. There's that one where Rimmer ends up having to fight the world that is a personification of all his darkest fears. That's hilarious. I love that one. White holes, maroons.
Wouldn't it be a globalization of all his darkest fears if it's a world?
It was a psychic world, basically, that people used to go to. It was basically like a pleasure world.
So it's like a
this guy is deeply neurotic, and this world turned against him. Oh, and like the wax world, where this guy basically, who is like psychotic militarist, goes to this wax kind of theme park, and all the remaining inhabitants, he basically like the good wax droids and the evil wax droids, he got them into a fight against each other, and he wiped out the entirety of the population on that planet.
Oh no.
But he won, and that was the point.
Yay.
And he got eaten for that. So
Oh.
what about the one by being judged by your own self? Yeah. That was good. I've forgotten the name of that one. The luck virus. Yeah, Felicitas Populi.
Okay. So, Cleo, we're coming up on 2.5 hours here, so I'm at the point where I either need to take a hydration break or wrap up.
I think we should wrap up, because my brain has just decided to turn off and talk about Red Dwarf. That's usually a sign that I should probably stop. Because I could do this for hours at this point, and it's not good for you.
No, I don't mind it. And, like, I genuinely feel like this is helping me get in the right headspace. Like the work I'm doing while you're talking is, like, genuinely, I think, helping me prepare for this pinball machine project.
Yeah.
So,
Badger should definitely show you at least, like, one of the Red Dwarf episodes. Like, Back to Reality is always a good one.
Hopefully one where you don't have to know the characters, because if the joke is, you know this character, but they're in the worst situation for them, like, I don't know the characters, so.
Maybe not that one, then.
Yeah, because I was going to say, the way you're describing it, this sounds like you got to, but, okay.
Yeah, no, sure. I'll think about it, and then I'll think about the best episode, because this, like, when I was 12, I became obsessed with Red Dwarf. I was a member of the fan club and everything, you know?
Yeah,
so
I've heard of a fan club before.
Hook.
All right.
Okay, like let's call it here, and and our brains will both feel better for it, I'm sure.
Alrighty. So if you've never seen one of these streams before, Cleo and I usually decamp from our group call into our own chats to say goodbye to y'all individually. So thank you, Cleo, for having me, for hanging out.
You're very welcome. Thank you for being had. No, that's not right.
I do what I can. Alrighty. Catch you later, Cleo.
Bye, Joe.
Alrighty, chat. I hope y'all had a fantastic morning with us. Let's see. What is going on over here? I see some folks are getting set up but aren't necessarily ready for viewers yet. Let's see. That stream is in its starting sign. That's not cool. Is this stream live? Looks like... Okay, he's got his camera on. Yeah, he's playing. Okay, cool. Why don't we go ahead and read Music Man? He had COVID recently and is trying his best to bounce back. I'm sure he would appreciate folks stopping by. So, okay. I say recently. It was probably 2 weeks ago. I just have no concept of time anymore. So maybe don't mention that. But, I don't know. Well, with COVID, 2 weeks can or cannot be a long time. Who knows? Anyway, we're going to go raid Music Man. When you get over there, our raid message is howdy y'all. Joe Hill's raid here. He is doing some Minecraft speedruns, it looks like. Anyway, until next time, y'all, this is Joe Hills from Nashville, Tennessee. Keep adventuring. Do-do-do-do.